Welcome back. Well, the federal government a few days ago approved and ordered the implementation of the 2018 fiscal policy measures effective 27th of July 2018. And the 2018 fiscal policy measure replaces the 2016 fiscal policy measure, which had been in force since October 17, 2016. Well, joining me to x-ray this is a professor of capital market at Nasarawa State University, Professor Uche Owaleke, joining us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Professor Owaleke. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, good morning, Chimeze.
So tell me...
Happy to be here.
You're welcome. So tell me, what is your take on the 2018 fiscal policy just approved by the government?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks once again. Permit me to start by congratulating Oscar Onyema, particularly on behalf of the Abuja City Gentlemen, the stockbroker community in Abuja, on his admission to the prestigious club of fellow of the Charter of Stockbrokers, and again on the unveiling of his foundation. Returning to your question, of course, you know that the 2018 fiscal policy measures coming into effect, with effect from 27th July, is replacing the one we've had since 2016, the one that started on the 17th October, 2016, and the overarching objective of these fiscal policy measures, has always been the protection of domestic industries, the encouragement, to certain sectors, in the economy, as well as discourage the consumption of, certain commodities. And it is in that light, particularly in the area of incentivizing critical sectors of the economy, that I see the reduction or the duty-free in respect of machineries that are associated with the setting up of modular refineries. They are going to enjoy the duty-free. If you're importing machineries for modular refinery, you're no longer going to pay duty. And of course, you will recall that the federal government recently gave licenses to people to set up modular refineries in Nigeria. And the importance of that cannot be overemphasized, especially against the backdrop of the report that the Dangote refinery in Lagos may not take off till 2020. Yes, as expected. The earlier date was 2020, but now we are hearing this. It may not take off until 2 years, after that. So there is need for us to have a stopgap measure to have modular refineries, so that we can reduce the huge cost of importing petroleum products, in an environment of rising crude oil prices, under the name of under recovery. So that is something that is commendable. It's also in the light of protecting local industries that I see the increase in tariffs with respect to tomato concentrate. Just the other day, the Tomato Growers Association, was complaining about losses. They've experienced this season, amounting to about 10 billion naira. The annual production of tomatoes in this country is about 1.5 metric tons, and we hear over 40% of that is lost, resulting in losses in excess of 70 billion on an annual basis. And that's primarily because the open market is not sufficient to take up all the harvest, and we don't have guaranteed off-takers that take these products from farmers. And so the impact of importation of tomato concentrate, have been negative on the economy. So I would support the fact that tariffs on that, is being increased. I will also support in the area of discouraging consumption of certain commodities, as well as protecting local industries, the increase in tariffs on tobacco and alcoholic products. The tariffs by the 2018 fiscal policy measure is being increased from 60% to 70%. Of course, you also know that is something, it's not an essential, it's something people can do without. So that, again, is in order. But the area I don't, quite agree to is the one that has to do with syringe. Increasing the tariff on syringe from 5% to as high as 70%. Essentially 5% on the normal duty, and then 65% by way of import adjustment tax. Import adjustment tax is something that is allowed under the ECOWAS CET, that's common external tariffs, where countries are allowed to impose taxes in excess of what was agreed by the ECOWAS member states. So for me, we should be very careful imposing tariffs on essentials. We should be very careful on imposing tariffs on commodities that, if you like, have inelastic demand, commodities that people cannot do without, especially given our target, what we intend to achieve in the health sector. So that is the only place I worry about, because what that means now is you go to hospitals, and of course the cost of the healthcare is likely to go up if the cost of syringes will also go up. You may also begin to experience smuggling of syringes because of this measure, and that could also give room to smuggling substandard products. So for me, aside from syringes and a few others, largely I think the 2018 fiscal policy measure, in terms of the tariffs, for me, they're in order. And also recall that of 2016 lowered with respect to about 26 items, brought down rates relative to that of 2015. And that was done because the government at the time was trying to cushion the effect of the recession. But now that the economy is gradually coming out of recession, we should rev up, we should activate our import substitution measures by increasing tariffs on some of these products to protect local industries and also incentivize activities in critical sectors of the economy.
Okay.
So for me, it's a welcome development.